Here. I'm doing a new thing where every week I'm going to put out a video with either something I've learned through photography or post-processing, to put it out there to share a few things that I've learned along the way and hopefully learn a few new things myself. The first topic I'm going to address is HDR images, or high dynamic range images. They've been pretty popular lately, and there's many different ways to make it, and the most basic way is where you take several exposures at a different EVs, different stops of light between them, and then combine them into a master file, which basically has a proper exposure of the shadows as well as the highlights, where nothing is really blown out or lost in the shadow detail. There's a couple ways to do this. And there's the traditional way of doing it through Photoshop, which I'll show you in a second, and then the way I do it, which I like a little bit more. So here's a nice shot of the Palouse region in Washington. I took 2 exposures. As you can see on the first one, I dropped the shadows to 0. There's nothing in the shadows, but I got this beautiful sunrise. And in the second, the sunrise is blown out, and the foreground looks pretty nice. So what I want to do is I want to combine these 2 images. So first I'm going to give it a try in the old-fashioned Photoshop approach. I have these exported images here. I'm going to open Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Automate, Merge to HDR Pro, and I'm going to select those 2 files. Like these 2 files right here. Open. Okay. And sit back and relax while Photoshop does its thing. So let's see what it comes up with. Under Untitled HDR1. Oh wow, that's beautiful. Looks like I threw up all over the computer. Let's turn the saturation down to 0. Let's drop that. So it's kind of, there's no contrast. It's blotchy. We've got a lot of aberrations around the mountains. Let's turn that edge glow down. The colors are kind of wonky. I mean, it looks kind of like a bunch of rainbow crap. It's not really an image that I'm happy with right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say no to this, cancel, and try something else. Alright, so let's go to Lightroom. Here are my 2 files. I'll bring up the shadows. What I want to do is I'm going to try to manually blend these together in Photoshop. So I'm going to retain the sky from this one and the ground from this one. And where they'll cross over is the midground. So I'm taking a look here, taking a look there, and the midground's pretty comparable on both. I did that by bringing the shadows up. So let's go ahead and open those in Photoshop. I'll do that by hitting Control on the Mac, go up, Edit In, open as layers in Photoshop, click, and then Photoshop, and these are open. Let me take off this selection here. Okay, so you have the one with the blown out skies as the foreground. Hide that. Come on, stop being slow. I'll wait while my computer decides to start working again. Alright, hide that. Okay, cool. So let's get rid of that selection. There we go. I'm going to hide the foreground right now by creating a layer mask. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. Just hit the alternate key. Click on this little thing right here that looks like a circle and a white rectangle. Right here. Click. And now it disappears. So this basically has a black sheet over it right now. You can't see it. But if I were to paint in parts with the color white, watch what happens. So I got my paintbrush tool going to white right here, make it a real big one, not that big. Look what happens when I start painting in. Wow. You can see the other one starting to come through. That's pretty cool. So forget about all that. We're going to do it in a way where we can only get the dark parts of this, and we're going to do it by creating what's called a luminosity mask. Go up here to the channels palette, or click back on this one. Go up to the channels palette. Okay? Hold down Command, Alternate, Shift, and click on this RGB. Look what it made. It made this right here. I'll delete this. We'll make that in a second. Okay. It made this called Alpha 1. Basically, that is a selection of the lightest parts of the image, which is pretty cool. So you can see that all the blown out sky and everything like that is selected. It's white. And all the ground, the dark part, is not selected. It's black. I want the opposite of that. So I'm going to hit Command Shift I, which makes an inverted selection. And then I'm going to hit that button again with the circle and the rectangle. There you go. So now you can see that this bottom part is selected and it kind of tapers off in the top. This is the selection I want to work with. So I'll click here. I'll go back to here. Now all the dark part is selected, so that I can brush in with that white brush. Let's get a big white brush. Only darks from the foreground. So let's try it out. I'm going to turn my opacity down, probably about 50%, just so I can do it that nice and evenly. And brushing it in. Oops. I wanted to brush into the foreground. Not that. So click on that right there and brush it in. You see how it's brightening up? Brush it in. Brushing it into the plants. So you can see over here, this top is still black and this bottom's white. And since I selected I have currently only dark selected, that none of these lights are going to leak over. Brush it in. Okay. So, I'll wait for my slow computer to catch up. Come on, catch up. I deselect it by hitting Command D, and now you can see I have the nice parts of the foreground and the nice parts of the background combined together. Sunset looks nice, it isn't blown out, and now I can combine these by hitting Command Shift E and have a master file to start my actual image editing. Hope you guys enjoy that. Hope that was a good tool for you. And if you have any questions, just write them down and I'll try to get to them in the comments. Thank you very much.